What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So this stock is absolutely on fire. Today it's up 17.32%, 492 the low, 550 the high, and 22.4 million shares being traded. 11.2 is the average. No official news from Rezolve today, nor any SEC filings. What is really moving it higher is, for the most part, I think their presence on social media. So they did post this highlighting Liverpool and what that kind of means to them. But more specifically, they did participate at the H.C. Wainwright conference, and there was a lot of good things. So this is roughly around 25 minutes long. I did actually post this on my YouTube channel, so if you're curious, you can listen to it. A lot of good information, but kind of one thing that really stood out to me is more so at the end when he was asked about kind of the stock price. And that's something generally a lot of CEOs don't get questions about, because you get operational updates and whatever else. But he was asked about the stock price. And honestly, I wish more CEOs answered this type of question, because he just said that, hey, you know what, given where we are at a crazy discount. And so even on a PS ratio, it's sitting at roughly 30. A lot of comparables are roughly around that 45. So in theory, you would assume that this should jump to at least bare minimum. If it's using the same PS ratio as a lot of its peers, it should be at roughly $7. So I've stated this time and time again, I do feel just based on the growth that this stock is achieving, it's should be at $7. And most likely with their earnings right around the corner, which is coming out on the side note, October the 1st, that might be that good catalyst to really propel it to that $7 range. So we'll have to wait and see, but it is definitely a fun and exciting kind of stage. For those of you that tuned in and have been watching my videos, I haven't been doing that much Rezolve videos, but I started covering it right over here when it was at, I think, $1.30. I posted it on my Patreon as well, saying it was a screaming buying opportunity. I doubled down at I think it was $2.34, saying that it was going to hit most likely $7, and it's pretty much heading there. So I think lucky to those individuals that did buy in during the dips. And honestly, I tend to agree. The fact that what they are achieving, it is still arguably pretty good, I wouldn't say value play, but it's definitely discounted. So again, do your own due diligence and all the other fun jazz. Based on today, these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. And so of course, as I've brought up in the past, there's another stock that I do cover, and that is SoundHound. They are very heavily shorted. And so dark pool often enough used by shorts. And in Rezolve's case, it's not heavily shorted whatsoever. So a lot of these transactions occurring right here are hedge funds actually buying. So definitely good to see. End of Q3 is going to be concluding in roughly around 2 weeks. So most likely you'll be seeing a continued increase in institutional presence as institutions will be rebalancing, and given the growth trajectory of Rezolve, I'm sure some of them will be adding a lot. So latest 13Fs, when they do come out in October, that one will be definitely worthwhile to watch for. Aside from that though, at the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing 317,000 shares. But given that there's 22.4 million shares being overall traded right now, they're not really impacting the stock price whatsoever. 7.95% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 9.41 million shares. Cost to borrow average has jumped up quite significantly since my last video. So it is sitting at 117.91%. That is a annual rate, not a daily rate. So just so you are all aware of that. Looking at the options, 3.27 million in calls, 181,000 in puts, and then 48% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. So despite it being up 17+%, you are seeing still a good amount of optimism. So definitely good to see. From a bull standpoint, this is the only downside of this, which it could change, mind you. They only have monthly chains. So it really does suck. So if you're an options trader like myself, this is just just peanuts. It really sucks. But with a increase in demand, market makers will kind of acknowledge that and open up more weeklies, or at least test it out, do a little, at least 1 month out worth of weeklies and whatever else. So that should be a pretty good thing. And generally the volume has also been increasing on the common stock as well. So most likely you'll be seeing in the next couple of weeks more chains open up, and possibly as well higher strike prices. So the highest strike price you can actually do right now is $7.50. So once they open it up, let's say to, I'd say $15, and push it to 2027 expiry dates, that will be in among itself a pretty big sentiment booster. And most likely, logically, I would assume that would all be done before their upcoming earnings. But still, from a bull standpoint, it seems like 550 is anticipated for the week ending September the 19th. Bears, there's not really much to analyze based on that information. With it right now at 538, it is above all the key fib levels. Moving over to the classic, next strong target is going to be that 633. 525 is going to be a strong support that you'll want to watch for that to hold, at least in the next little bit. There hasn't been all that much in analyst ratings, as you can kind of see right over here. So last one was, looks like 6 days ago, $5 rating, and that was done by Northland. Aside from all of that fun stuff though, quickly popping over here, this is something I did bring up in my last video. Basically, how it did really move higher. You've been seeing more and more kind of willing buyers based on just this market position. One thing to take note of though is you do see this gap. So potentially if things turn sour, let's say from their upcoming earnings or just from a macro standpoint, you could see this gap get filled. So if you believe in that type of thing, so just be aware of that. But I think just the longs definitely have just a lot of power, a lot of good momentum. And you can see that as well. The fact that it's been holding well above that 10-day moving average is signals that there is a lot of good momentum. And even aside from that though, it's already above all the key pivotal moving averages that generally I like to look at. And stochastic RSI, it is rather overdone, so a little bit overbought. Nothing really wrong with that exactly, only because a lot of stocks, as they do generally correct, you are going to see them kind of overbought for a while. So something as well to keep in mind. Algos, it's a little bit more quieter today than at least my last couple of videos. Still doing a lot of volume, but in comparison to that, it's definitely good. So at the end of the day, today's green is actual institutions buying Rezolve. So again, a lot of good things, optimism, and from the most recent conference, as well as their upcoming earnings. So let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with Rezolve? And like I've mentioned already in this video, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. A lot of good plays such as Rezolve are brought up. So numerous times a week I put out swing trades, including, like I said, Rezolve and many others that run up like crazy. So worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.